Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. Such a pleasure to have you here with us in beautiful Marrakech for this wonderful festival. Maybe you could just begin with a brief introduction to your film. What can audiences expect when they watch Blue Caftan?
Hello, Sarah. The Blue Caftan is a film about love, the love between beings, the love of a craft that's disappearing today. It's a story of a couple that live in the old Medina of Saleh. He hand makes kaftans. He's a malam. She takes care of the shop, and they love each other profoundly. They've been married for 25 years, and they've been living with a secret that is this man's homosexuality. And one day, a young apprentice arrives in the store. It's how the story is going to go from there.
And of course, it's your second feature, but I believe you sort of were sparked with the idea while actually creating your first when you were in the Medina and I think casting for Adam. So tell us a bit about the genesis of the story and why you were compelled to tell it on the big screen.
When I was scouting for Adam, actually, in the Medina of Casablanca, I met this man. And I was very, very touched by him. I was very touched by what I felt he was obliged to not say about himself, by the weight of this on his everyday life. And I realized how violent it must have be for him every day to wake up and have to pretend to be somebody he was not because he had no other choice. I went back and saw him a lot of times, and I was, like I said, very moved by him. I went on to shooting my next film, and when I had finished Adam, when Adam came out, I realized that this man was still there. This man was still there, but more the emotion that he had provoked in me, because he took me back to souvenirs that I had in my childhood, where I had heard of couples such as Halima Minas that had been married in order to keep a facade for society, in order to be acceptable socially. So he just, I don't know, it just became very tangible, very real all of a sudden, and the desire to tell this story started coming. It just emerged basically in a rather irrational manner. So I just basically started writing.
And of course, you've never shied away from difficult topics, taboo topics, from your documentary about female prostitutes, your short about exploitation of children, of course, Adam, looking at single mothers. But this is a particularly challenging topic here in Morocco, the fact that homosexuality is not only not accepted as, in a societal way, but also kind of in the eyes of the law. Did it take a kind of a step up of courage to launch into it, but did you feel that any kind of difficulty was worth it to be able to tell the story?
I believe that there are stories that need to be told, and this is one of them. I deeply believe in the freedom, individual freedom. I believe in the freedom to love. Just like I was saying, this is a film about love and about the freedom to love who you want to love, the way you want to love them, wherever it be that you live in the world. And I don't think anybody has a right to impose anything else on you. And yes, homosexuality is illegal in Morocco today, still. Unfortunately, it still is illegal. So yes, there is the law, and then there is also the social pressure. And I believe that it is essential to change things. And I believe that cinema can contribute in bringing change, because I believe cinema talks to our emotions through an emotion that we might feel strongly through when you empathize with a character, when you understand this character. It can help you change your perception, and I believe that is essential for change. I never feared what would happen, how the film would be received. I was always just hopeful that the film would screen, and that's what's happening. The film is screening, and I believe that once again, this can help stir a debate that is necessary, because some stories have to be heard, and if we live in fear of what's going to happen, then what's the point of making films? I think an artist cannot think that way.
And of course, in order to really make this film work and land, your cast were going to be really crucial, and you kind of found these incredible pair to play Mina and Halim, but also a newcomer to play Youssef. So how did you work with them, in particular perhaps with Saleh, where could there potentially be repercussions for him as a person on taking on this role?
Okay, so could there be repercussions? I guess when you take on a role like this, and we did speak with Saleh a lot about this. We spoke with Ayoub as well. That plays a part of Yusuf. You need to completely believe in the part that you're playing, and you need to want to defend that part. And of course, I felt this very strongly both in Saleh and in Ayoub. Because it is not easy to play such a part, because there could be repercussions, because it could have an impact on your career even. So I believe that both Saleh and Ayoub were very brave to play this part. And for me, that is because they are real artists, because they are real actors, because not saying that if you don't believe in it, you're not a real actor. That's not what I mean to say. But they had this real desire to defend the truth of these characters as well as they could through Halim and through Yusuf.
And tell us a bit about the shoot, because of course the location was going to be really crucial, making it feel like we're really there, but maybe that could also pose some difficulties and having to be a little bit clandestine maybe at times. So what may be some of the highlights but also challenges along the way?
Yeah, absolutely. That's thank you for that question, because it's true that the shoot was I mean, everything went well, but there was a constant pressure. There was a constant pressure because of course we had the authorizations to shoot. We had everything we required to shoot, but I was aware, and we were all aware, that at any moment, there could be something that stopped the shoot, because we were shooting in areas that are quite conservative, where there wasn't necessarily a desire to talk about this kind of subject, this kind of couple, in any sense that we talk about in the Blue Caftan. So it wasn't necessarily going to be a welcome theme, and I was very aware of that. So yes, it was a pressure every day of not knowing if the next day something was going to keep us from shooting. But we managed, and there was a very, very strong belief. We were a crew that was very, very strong, very united as well, and very optimistic. I mean, I think I am an optimist, and I really do believe. I always believe that things are going to get done because they have to get done, and so I think that we all were in that kind of mindset.
And I think what really stands out about your film is the level of nuance, because just within their relationship, perhaps we don't see that enough on screen, where love between them as a couple has to be redefined. Her love for him is actually what drives her to want to set him free in a way, to really know him, as opposed to something that it's like she would be jealous of it. Also, her relationship with religion, so being able to remain religious, but maybe redefine your relationship with that. And then, of course, the idea of tradition. How can we celebrate and not lose our traditions, but maybe they need to keep up with the way we're progressing, as a society. So was that really important to you to have those nuances?
Extremely important. That was crucial for me. I think that we are all very complex beings. What I wanted is to be able to portray the complexity of these beings, complexity of these relationships, the complexity of love as well, because it's true that love is very complex. There isn't one way of loving. There isn't a right or wrong. There is so many different ways of loving, and that's what I wanted to talk about as well through these characters, because yes, they do redefine the way they love. And they really love each other. Halim and Mina are a couple that really love each other. It's not a facade, They're not doing it for society. It's not, it is a real respect and emotion and love and the companionship that they've had going for 25 years. They had to face their challenges, like many people have to face their challenges. And what I wanted is to understand the complexity of this couple and how they manage to redefine their love in order to keep going, and how at the end Mina manages as well to face her fears, to face her apprehensions out of love, to want this man to be happy, to be free, to be proud of who he is, and to love himself as well the way that she loves him. So and you talk about tradition and I think that's very important. For me, it was essential to be able to talk about certain traditions that I wanted to sublimate, to beautify, such as this tradition of kaftan making that today is dying because it cannot be passed on because the transmission is being broken. And that's something that deeply hurts me because I feel it's part of those traditions that make up as well our DNA, our identity. And I think that some traditions have to be preserved and to be protected, but that at the same time there are other traditions that have to be questioned, that have to be bousculé, pushed, that have to be replaced, that have to move forward in order to make us advance, especially when they are traditions that keep us from being well as individuals, when they're traditions that enclose us, that can suffocate us. So yeah, tradition can be very beautiful, and I celebrate and love tradition, and tradition can have the downside to it. And I think it's important to be able to look at both in a way that is objective, in a sense.
What does it mean to you, I guess, when you were first making this film, even when it was showing in Cannes? Maybe you didn't know at that point whether it would ever screen here in Morocco. So to be here at the Marrakech Film Festival, you know, what is that feeling like?
Oh, that's a beautiful feeling. That's a beautiful feeling because, yes, I didn't know if the film was going to be screened then. I knew that we had gotten support for the film from an independent commission, the Moroccan Cinema Center. So it's support from the Moroccan government for the film, but I didn't know if the film was going to screen or not, because in order for the film to screen, you need a visa for the film. That's another commission that decides. And we did get our visa for the film, so the film is screening in Morocco. And the fact that it's screening at the Marrakech Film Festival for me is such a beautiful feeling, because symbolically it means a lot. It means a lot because for such a sensitive subject, that it has that it's actually screening at the most representative film festival in the country means a lot. And I think that can help push the debate even further, put it even more in the public eye here in Morocco. And I mean, for me, that's essential to just be able to contribute to bring change as well through this film.
What do you think the power of cinema is to do that? And particularly with your film, because perhaps when we're debating and we're arguing and we're locking heads, you know, on social media, which feels very polarized a lot of the time, it feels like cinema can occupy this space where the nuances can be there and allow people to empathize on a different level than you can through other kinds of medium. And maybe it does have the power to change things and change people's minds.
Mm-hmm. I really believe that cinema has the power to change people's minds. I believe that cinema, is an experience, an emotional experience, can be an emotional experience. And when you have the emotional experience of a character, when you're inside the story, when you empathize, when you feel things that you weren't necessarily expecting to feel, because you have to go out of your comfort zone, because maybe those are places that you don't necessarily go to because you've decided not to go there in your mind. I think that if cinema can take you there emotionally, later it can have an impact, an intellectual impact, where you can reconsider, because it can help change your perception through your emotion. That's where I believe cinema can be very, very powerful. And I really, it's something I deeply believe in.
And can you tell us what you might work on next? Are you going to tackle another tricky topic, or are you going to do something different? Or?
I only talk about characters. I never. In fact, I actually never think of topics when I'm writing. I always think of characters. I always write out of impulse, emotional impulse that's drawn from characters that I've met, from things, people that have inspired me, places that have inspired me, that at a certain moment I feel need to find a way of expression that starts through the writing. But it's never a rational process. So I never really know where I'm going until I'm actually getting there.
Just very quickly, how do you see the cinema landscape right now? I mean, you've obviously been so well received at festivals like Cannes. How do you see the opportunities, particularly for female storytellers, from the kind of non-US world of cinema? And do you think there's still a way to go for there to be more inclusion and be more diverse voices?
Well, I believe that all stories should be told, that all necessary stories should be told. And I also strongly believe that in my experience, because I can only talk of my experience, is that you really feel the need to tell a story. You just also struggle to give yourself the means to tell your story. And of course, there is so many incredible stories all over the world, and they all deserve to exist. So
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing all that with us. I really enjoyed presenting your film here at the Marrakech Film Festival. Thanks so much.